What's going on, YouTube? This is Metal Complex, and today we're going to be looking at another inexpensive knife that I do like. This is the Kershaw Zing, or Kershaw 1730 SS. Let's go ahead and open her up here real quick. This is an assisted opening knife. It does not take much effort, and the blade flies out. As you can see here, this knife is owned by a gentleman named Tyler, and I believe it's engraved because he received it as a groomsman gift. Pretty great groomsman gift. We're going to go over why here. This is a full steel frame lock. This is a Chinese Kershaw, so it is a budget Kershaw at about $30. That's a pretty good price for this. I want to go over why I say good and bad price. So for the money, what you're looking for are, reasonable expectations in terms of materials. Now, function and things that I expect in every folder are minimal blade play and I mean minimal left and right blade play in an inexpensive folding knife, and no horizontal blade play ever. If you get that out of the box, that's a bad knife right away. Over time, if you've been beaten on it, it's like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, and really beating on it, it's going to do that. Even a hinderer is going to do that if you beat the crap out of it, like if you use it like a hammer, which you should never be doing. And then, you have to ask yourself, what size of knife do I need? What am I going to use it for? How hard am I going to use it? And what's my budget? You have to ask yourself those questions. So if you're looking for a knife that you're going to use to chop down a tree, no, then you don't want this. And really, you don't want any knife at all. You want an axe or a hatchet or something like that. Anyways, so that's what I mean. So $30 for this is a fairly good price. I'm going to go over why I think that. Full steel handles here. It is a frame lock. The handles are made out of 410 steel. I'm not super familiar with 410, though I imagine it'll hold up just fine in a knife that's really meant to be used for fairly light tasks. Your blade steel, though, is 8CR13 MOV, for those of you who are unfamiliar with that steel. It is a Chinese steel, but in this price range, that's going to be really hard to beat. Pretty good edge retention. It's not a super steel, but you can get a really fine, sharp edge with 8CR13 MOV, and it is reasonably tough and reasonably stain resistant, too. So I think that's great for this knife in this price range. That's probably the best thing about this knife, coupled with the blade shape here, which we'll move on into. This is kind of almost wants to be a Warncliffe, but it's kind of more of a drop point here. The way this is ground, you've got a pretty thin stock, 0.11, 0.1, it's probably 0.11 thick blade here, and it drops fairly high. Not a super tall blade, but it drops fairly high down to a pretty sharp cutting edge. Now, Tyler has told me, full disclosure here, that he received this knife, used it a little tiny bit, and then it got lost for a while, and then he recently found it in a drawer. So this knife is one that has not been used very hard, but my initial impressions of it, if I'm going by nearly out-of-the-box quality, is good. There is no horizontal or vertical blade play on this knife whatsoever. The frame lock locks up at about 60%, which is pretty normal here, and the blade is centered and does not rub. So that's pretty cool for a $30 knife, because most of the time for $30 you're going to get a little bit of side-to-side blade play. But like I said, you should never have horizontal blade play. That's a recipe for accidental disengagement. This frame lock was a little bit sticky, and we have since added some lead. If you don't know about that trick, the light's screwing me up here. If you don't know about the trick, if you have a frame lock that's giving you issues with disengagement, if it's sticky or hard to disengage, you can color in the where the frame lock actually engages the blade tang with a lead pencil, and it'll naturally lighten up. I guess lead is a kind of a natural lubricant for steel, I guess. I don't know. But it does work. You have all steel hardware, pivot, Torx pivot, and then you've got 3 body screws that go straight through to the other side. A lot of people don't like that, and it's because, sometimes you might have issues with the threads kind of stripping out or messing up if you're doing steel on titanium or steel on aluminum. I've never had an issue with that, but this is steel on steel, so no issue there. I think that's great. I would prefer that to 3 more body screws on the other side, because that's just more pieces to back out, and you don't want to lose a screw in your knife. This backspacer back here is kind of nice. It adds a little bit of contrast to the otherwise monochromatic look of this this blade here. It is plastic. It's not G10. I would have preferred to see standoffs here, but whatever. But fairly easy to clean out. You've got a the stop pin up here. That's going to absorb the impact of the blade, though the blade's not very heavy, so you're really not going to have to worry about that causing too much damage over time. Then the pocket clip is weird, but I think this is fairly... I've seen this on other inexpensive Kershaws, and it works. It kind of raises up here, and it'll go over the material just fine. Right now it's set up for tip down, which I don't like, but it's Tyler's knife, whatever. And then you can also change it to tip up left-hand carry or tip up right-hand carry. So that's really cool. I love that. Really, that's about it. We'll do the comparison here with the hinder. And, I do this in every single video. The hinder is 8.25 inches overall. So if you're familiar with the hinder, you're going to, know. But this is about right for my hands. That's about what I like to hold. And, I do enjoy a smaller knife for office carry. So if anybody wants to compare there for size, that's about what that looks like. So, I don't know. Not much else to say. Kershaw always does a good job with their budget line. They seem to have really good quality control for their less expensive folding knives. Now, oh, that's an R.J. Martin design. Hey, I did not know that. If you don't know anything about R.J. Martin, he makes some amazing custom knives. I urge you to go look those up just for fun. Some really nice eye candy there. But yeah, famous knife designer and notorious for making some excellent design knives, both for function and ergonomics. But anyways, this knife isn't going to be, it's not going to beat anything. It's not going to beat out every single thing in its price range. I've never handled an Ontario Rat 2 in D2 steel, but that seems to be an excellent knife that's close to this size in that price range. And I don't think this would beat that out. I've never handled one. I'm definitely going to buy one and show it on this channel, because I almost feel obligated to. Everybody has handled that knife, it seems like, except me. And yeah, that does seem like a good deal. But, almost everybody will make a purchase on a knife at least partially based on aesthetics. So, maybe the Ontario Rat on paper seems better to you, but you don't like how it looks and you like how this one looks, then by all means make this purchase over the other one. I'm not going to tell you what knife to purchase in terms of aesthetics, because that's left up to individual opinion. But this is a great choice for $30. I would have been really impressed at like 15 to 20, but yeah, it's still a good purchase. There's not too much to complain about here. There is no texturing on this, so keep that in mind. If you're going to be using this in an environment that's really slippery, then probably not the best idea. This isn't a hard use knife. This is a light duty, everyday carry, throw it in your truck console or tool bag, toolbox, whatever. Carry it in your pocket and use it and don't really care about it kind of knife. And it's going to hold up really well. Just maintain it, take care of it. You are going to have to resharpen HCR 13 MOV. It's not like M390 or something that holds an edge forever. But yeah, you can get these super sharp, and they will cut for a decent amount of time. And you're still going to want to oil it. It's not the most stain resistant steel in the world. And this bead blast finish does create little micro pockets or micro divots in the steel, and they are technically places for the blade to trap moisture. So be aware of that, or you're going to end up with some surface corrosion on the blade. So not a bad option for $30. Just wanted to show that off a little bit. I'd never heard of this knife up until Tyler handed it to me a couple of days ago, and I carried it around, kind of played with it for parts of the day for 2 to 3 days, and I really came to enjoy it. If that's what I was looking to spend, this one would certainly be a good option. So no complaints there. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. If you did, please do leave a like. That really helps me out, and it makes my day when people do that. Right now it just makes me happy. If you enjoyed this video, please check out my other content. There are definitely lots of other knives I've got videos of that are both inexpensive and expensive. that I either do or don't like, and I go over those. So check those out, and if you enjoy that content, then definitely subscribe to my channel, because there's going to be a lot more, and I'm really having fun doing these. So anyways, thanks again for watching, and have a great day.